in TLC this morning, when you're up in the air and a medical emergency strikes, there's really no place to go and no way for outside help, obviously, to get to you. And that is why several U.S. carriers have finally bowed to pressure to upgrade the medical equipment carried aboard all of their flights. American Airlines says it will soon begin re-equipping its domestic fleet, and other carriers plan to do the same by year's end. Our Dr. Nancy Snyderman is joining us now to show us what the change could mean to travelers. Welcome.
Hi, Charlie. This is one place where the international carriers have been way ahead of our American carriers, because most international flights do carry small portable defibrillators, have so for years. But United States regulations on what gear an aircraft must have on board, well, they haven't been updated in more than a decade. And unfortunately, that result, as you're going to see in this report, has sometimes been tragic.
Last December, on a flight to Miami, 25-year-old LaShawn Royal's heart stopped beating. Dr. John Knight, a passenger on the plane, tried to revive her, but said he was unsuccessful, partly because the plane was not carrying the proper medical equipment: a defibrillator to restart her heart and an endotracheal tube to clear her breathing passage.
I felt helpless. I felt that I was watching someone drown with the ability to possibly make a difference. And didn't have the life raft to get out there.
To provide that life raft, Dr. Knight has made it his mission to convince Congress to demand airlines be better prepared for medical emergencies.
Passengers are far from safe on board airlines right now.
It wasn't until 1996 that the airlines began keeping count of medical incidents in the air. That year, out of 600 million passengers, there were about 10,000 such events, ranging from mainly headaches and nausea to seizures and heart attacks.
Most medical emergencies can be dealt with once you're back on the ground. But if your heart and lungs stop while you're up in the air, you only have about 10 minutes to be revived. And that can be a problem. Since the average airliner takes 20 minutes to get back to the airport, if you don't get immediate help, you're likely out of luck.
Plug-in pads connector next to flashing light.
The FAA hasn't upgraded its requirements for onboard medical equipment in 12 years. Some carriers, like Delta, are voluntarily installing defibrillators and training their flight attendants to use them.
Shock advised. Charging.
It is foolproof. It interprets the heart rhythm. It displays an electrocardiogram on the monitor. It makes all the decisions for us.
Stay clear of patient.
I'm clear. I'm clear.
Deliver shock now. Shock delivered.
Without this device, I would have never made it. My heart stopped.
Robert Giggy was clinically dead. His heart stopped suddenly on board an American Airlines plane. Fortunately, there was a paramedic on the flight, and the plane was carrying a defibrillator.
In less than 2 seconds, it had started the heart. It had sent the voltage. By the 3rd second, the heart was started. His jaw had locked. They could not get air into him. The paramedic and the American Airlines crew had the training it took not only to use the equipment, but to unlock the jaw and to get oxygen into him.
Robert Giggy was lucky. The defibrillator and the paramedic saved his life. But medical personnel are often reluctant to step forward on an airplane for fear of being sued. And Dr. Knight is pushing to change that, too.
There's not a federal Good Samaritan law that essentially would apply to airplanes. And until that's there, a lot of physicians, particularly with all the publicity now, are not going to get out of their seat to help.
It's been nearly 5 months since Dr. John Knight's frustrating attempt to save the life of LaShawn Royal. He continues his fight to get Congress and the FAA to force all airlines to improve in-flight medical aid.
Because how many 25-year-old lives should be lost, or any lives for that matter?
In March, Congress did pass a bill that will create a federal Good Samaritan law and direct the FAA to consider requiring all airlines to carry defibrillators and updated medical kits. Now, I have one of these kits here, and I should tell you that just the other day I was asked, you know, is there a doctor on board? And I opened up the kit, and it was laughable. There was nothing in it.
This is one of the new ones, though.
This is one of the new and improved ones. It has all kinds of stuff in it, including, in case you're perhaps a physician and you haven't kept up with everything, a little how-to guide on some of the more recent things, but all kinds of very important medications, including things for low blood sugar, Valium, all kinds of stuff for a starting heart, tubes, and even more important, these are the tubes, laryngoscopes, for being able to put a tube down someone's breathing passage and breathe for them. And IV bags, finally things that can make a difference and literally on the air save somebody's life.
And this is the defibrillator that's also
the defibrillator, and flight attendants will be trained to do this, so it's going to work, and I must tell you, it's about time.
And it's taken so long just because the airlines are worried about being sued?
We are worried about being sued.
Yeah. All right, good news. Nancy, thanks very much.
You bet.
We'll be back.